but I'm singing, just singing.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 most controversial movie scenes.
That's pretty cold, ain't it, lady?
I'm a writer. I use people for what I write. Let the world beware.
For this list, we'll be looking at the sequences that are considered the most notorious for their content, context, and subsequent reaction to them. This means a few spoilers. Did we forget an infamous movie scene? Let us know in the comments below. Number 10, The Assassination, The Interview. Those who remember this 2014 comedy probably focus on the fact that it almost started in an international incident.
As I'm sure you know already, Kim Jong-un is now capable of nuking all of the West Coast.
North Korea was offended by the film's premise, which culminates with Kim Jong-un's demise. Not only does the nation's leader die at the end, he meets his destruction in excruciating detail as a tank projectile hits his helicopter.
Come on, let your colors burst. Make 'em go.
This led to serious threats from the country. Hackers linked to North Korea's cyber attack Sony in what became an unprecedented disclosure of information. Theater chains initially backed out of showing the film as controversy shrouded its release. Eventually, the movie reached audiences despite foreign objections about its assassination plot.
Mr. Rappaport, I am Suk Yong Park. The Supreme Leader will grant a 1-hour interview to Mr. Skylark from inside North Korea.
Number 9, Early Lovemaking, Ecstasy. Actress Hedy Lamarr started her career in Europe, where she received a starring role in the groundbreaking drama Ecstasy. The Czech movie features one of the earliest instances of sex in a mainstream feature film. More specifically, Lamarr takes part in a love scene that shows her face during a climax. The entire moment is remarkably tame by today's standards. This didn't stop censors of the time period from banning the movie, which also includes the performer swimming in the nude. The Hollywood censors at the Hays office rejected the piece, and several U.S. states prevented screenings. Number 8, Movie Theater Fire, Inglourious Basterds. Quentin Tarantino's World War II film has plenty of his trademark violence and snappy dialogue, but the most prominent part is the dramatic ending.
Sehr talentierter Kameramann Antonio Margheriti und Antonio's Kameraassistent Dominique de Cocco.
Taking place at a movie theater, the finale corrals Nazi leaders into a premiere event and takes them out. The owner, Shosanna, lights the place on fire while the titular commandos tear into the baddies with machine guns.
I have a message for Germany. That you are all going to die.
Hitler's death receives particular attention during this sequence. The filmmaker's revisionism received both cheers and boos from critics, with some feeling it was disrespectful to play around with history. Others felt that Tarantino was turning Jewish characters into morally questionable humans. He doubled down on this idea in future projects such as Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, taking other fictionalized looks at the past.
Oh, I know you. I know all three of you. Yeah, Spawn Ranch.
Number 7, Ending, Kids. Larry Clark directed Harmony Korine's gritty account of teens in New York City entitled Kids.
But like, if you the flower girl, man, oh man, you're the man. No one could ever do that again, you know?
It quickly generated controversy for its frank look at sex, garnering controversy upon release. The end features the movie's most graphic scene, which exposes an attacker to HIV.
Jenny, you've tested positive for the HIV virus.
What?
The test isn't 100% accurate. You should...
I tested positive?
Clark's direction feels too real at times, playing out the moments with a disturbing authenticity. Some objected to the film's release. It was rated NC-17 and required some maneuvering to even be exhibited to the public, forcing Miramax producers to purchase the rights from Disney in order to release it in its unaltered state. Number 6, Water Buffalo, Apocalypse Now. Francis Ford Coppola's Vietnam epic is known as much for its thrilling storytelling as it is for its troubled production.
Nothing else in the world smells like that. I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
For the climactic sequence between Kurtz and Willard, the director chooses to juxtapose the action with the ritual sacrifice of a water buffalo. Coppola merely filmed the ceremony and included it in the final product.
And if you understand me, Willard, you will do this for me.
Considering that it was shot in the Philippines, the film was able to circumvent American laws about animal cruelty. The scene itself features members of a tribe using a machete in a bloody moment. This led to organizations such as the American Humane Association denouncing the movie for filming the slaughter. Number 5. Shower, Psycho. Alfred Hitchcock's horror classic stars Janet Leigh as a woman on the run.
What are you running away from?
Why do you ask that?
No. People never run away from anything.
She pulls into the Bates Motel where she takes one final shower before being attacked. The iconic scene features a slew of quick cuts that avoid any excessive brutality of the moment. Hitchcock's direction scared numerous viewers and his lead actress, with Leigh saying that she switched to baths for the remainder of her life. This doesn't even include an uproar over the misconception that there's nudity. Other controversial elements include the flushing of a toilet in an earlier shot. Despite significant worries from censors, the sequence ended up being released as originally intended. Number 4. Extended Attack, Irreversible. Argentine director Gaspar Noé attracts controversy with almost every film.
T'inquiète pas. C'est mieux que la police. Les alcooliques armés là. Tu leur parles, ils veulent te tirer une balle dans le cul, les flics.
His tense and experimental drama Irreversible is no different, featuring a harrowing assault as its most consequential sequence. Monica Bellucci's character runs into her attacker in a sequence that's over 10 minutes long. The remainder of the movie features fast-paced and chaotic moments leading up to and directly following the horrible crime. Some consider the project impossible to engage with due to its explicit content, almost forcing the viewer to look away during its controversial centerpiece. It reportedly prompted walkouts during its initial release at the Cannes Film Festival.
Laissez-moi. Ta gueule, je te dis. Soulève ta jupe. Laissez-moi. Laissez-moi.
Number 3. The Temptation, The Last Temptation of Christ. Rather than following more traditional tales about Jesus Christ, The Last Temptation of Christ delves into a more controversial viewpoint of the sacred story courtesy of Nikos Kazantzakis' novel.
If I was a woodcutter, I'd cut. If I was a fire, I'd burn. But I'm a heart and I love, that's all I can do.
The main crux of the film's notoriety stems from its climax, where Christ is tempted off the cross to live a normal life as a married man.
So if he saved Abraham's son, don't you think he'd want to save his own? He's tested you and he's happy with you.
Protests surrounded the movie's release as some religious leaders called this blasphemous. One radical group set fire to a Paris theater for screening the film, while boycotts were organized in the US. Martin Scorsese's project also received bans that unfairly marked it as an infamous release in the 1980s.
I'm thanking God for bringing you here.
Number 2. Singin' in the Rain, Clockwork Orange. Among the most controversial films of the 1970s, Stanley Kubrick's adaptation of Anthony Burgess's novel features copious amounts of violence.
Then we headed west. What we were after now was the old surprise visit. That was a real kick, and good for laughs and lashings of the old ultra-violent.
Alex DeLarge and his droogs bring anarchy and violence wherever they go. This includes a disturbing scene where the gang leader provides a haunting soundtrack.
Just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling. I'm happy again.
With the use of Singin' in the Rain, the main character's psychopathic tendencies are on full display. It's one of the sequences that inspired calls for censorship. In a tragic case of copycat crimes, several incidents were allegedly influenced by the on-screen acts. Kubrick was later inspired to take the film out of British theaters due to its perceived connection to various violent activities.
We were assaulted by a gang of vicious young hoodlums in this house, in this very room you are sitting in now. I was left a helpless cripple, but for her the agony was too great.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Crucifixion, The Exorcist. Among the most lauded horror films ever made, The Exorcist still shocks people to this day.
Well, then let's introduce ourselves. I'm Damien Karras.
And I'm the devil. Now kindly undo these straps.
The production overcame serious setbacks and alleged curses to create a groundbreaking, scary movie. In a project full of terrifying turns, there are few images as indelible as the possessed Reagan stabbing herself with a crucifix. Her demonic voice and movements only make the sequence more haunting. It's one of the elements that provoked wild audience reactions in 1973, including apparent medical emergencies at the site of the plot's darkest moments. It also involved Ellen Burstyn receiving a serious back injury after being knocked back by her on-screen daughter. Through it all, this proves to be one of the more unexpectedly dangerous and controversial scenes of its kind.
He didn't mention her.
No.
Huh. He didn't tell you what she did.
He didn't mention her.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.